Welcome to Passage to Profit, the show for entrepreneurs looking for real inspiration. Every week, discover journeys of innovation that fuel new ideas and redefine success.
So we're moving on to Josh Kahn with the company Eden, and his website is tryeden.com. Tell us what you're doing, why you're doing it, how you got here.
You know, it feels like we're just living in a moment where healthcare just feels broken, right? You look around, it's expensive, it's fragmented, it's inaccessible. People have challenges just getting basic care across all facets of the healthcare system. And so what we're trying to do is we're actually not trying to fix healthcare. We're trying to basically remake it. We're trying to re-envision what healthcare really means. And so what we're doing at Eden is really building out the infrastructure and the core concepts of what healthcare 3.0 looks like. It's a really big term, but really what we've done is we've identified a number of issues that impact the U.S. and Americans today. Like just one big thing that we noticed when we first started the company was, 70% of the U.S. is overweight. And I know that we can't use the other word, but that's the safe word.
The F word.
We've identified that we have a significant obesity problem. 40% of the U.S. is obese, and I think 50% of the U.S. is suffering from metabolic syndrome of some kind. And so what that meant is, hey, people are just struggling with basic access to how do you fix that? And truthfully, for me, I was the guy. I was 300 pounds myself. Like I was a big guy before. From there, we've actually been able to bring on well over 100,000 patients to the platform. We're nationwide. We've also really begun to vertically integrate on the supply chain side. So really just helping people that are in remote areas as well as big cities just access these life-changing therapies that should be available and more readily available for people.
So these are, just to be clear, these are GLP-1s, right? So
we do offer access to GLP-1s. The medical doctors do all those big pieces. But we also have a number of other programs just really focused on, all sorts of other angles for your health.
Oh.
And everything gets delivered to your door, right? Like that's the other thing. Like you don't have to wait in a doctor's office. You don't have to, call in and fax in a prescription somewhere. Like, we're changing, like I said, the paradigm of what healthcare looks like in the United States.
So do you get results from a blood test? Like would I go to my doctor and get a blood test and then have the results sent to you and you analyze them?
Yeah. So there's a lot of different, so since COVID, actually, it's really interesting. So since COVID happened, there's a lot of opportunity with asynchronous and synchronous doctor visits. So essentially you can go and some states allow you to fill out a form and it's the same thing as you meeting with a doctor. The doctor reviews the form and reviews all the information that you provide, which may have indicators like blood markers and those other pieces to make an informed medical decision on whether or not a treatment is right for you. And so what that does though is it unlocks it. It unlocks you and it allows you to actually access these medications that are incredibly in vogue right now. You look at everyone on the planet. You talked about Ozempic earlier, right? Ozempic Albert. It's a real thing. It's
Pre-Ozempic.
And so, we've really identified that there's a number of people, and that's the thing I think I'm the most proud of is how many people we've actually helped. It's just
100,000. So that's a lot of people.
We're really up there and we're growing. Every month seems to be our best month ever. Which is not a bad problem to have.
How did you get into this business? Because this is not your background, right?
No, I'm the dumb business guy, right? But no, the background I have is I'm not a medical provider. I'm not a doctor. I'm just like really interested in this stuff, right? So it's actually really interesting. I came from manufacturing, believe it or not. I'm from the Detroit metro area. So, we have like automotive is like in our blood, like we were saying, iron runs through our veins. It's not exactly blood all the time. And when I was working through there, I was actually going through COVID and COVID hits and I'm looking around and I have kids and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want my kids to know that I was, selling car parts. Nothing wrong with selling car parts, but I don't want them to think that, dad just is worried about selling car parts when there's a global pandemic. And so I said, hey, I'm going to leave this job and I'm going to go join a startup. And the startup was the first of its kind. I don't really want to name drop too many names, but it's like probably the largest longevity telehealth company in the space. And they needed someone to come in. I was like the first hire to come into the company. So I had to learn all of this stuff because the stuff we're doing has never really been done. Like it's all brand new.
So how do you create trust with somebody on a telehealth visit? I mean, it's different when you're in a doctor's office. At least it is for me. You see the person, the communication is different. If you're talking with a physician over Zoom or something like that, it's a different experience. So how do you build trust with your patients?
Yeah, it's a really interesting phenomenon, right? Since we're in the 21st century today, there's a big thing called social proof. People, once they understand other people have done it, they feel much more confident in your ability to do things. And so when you have the amount of patients that we've seen, you have the results that we're able to publish for people on our programs, it really moves the needle. Because you start to identify like, hey, maybe I don't trust this thing yet. But then you start seeing commercials on the Super Bowl with very similar concept. It starts to open people's eyes to, hey, maybe there's a different way to do things. Maybe it's like our AI conversation earlier. Maybe I need to get on board with this earlier rather than later.
I would have to, being that I'm a little seasoned, I would have to, I'm a human to human kind of thing. So for me, it would be a challenge to not be in the same room, as you were saying, with the doctor, eye to eye, talking to, building my confidence that I'm going to be okay. You see, that was what I needed. I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and my urologist was a lifesaver. Just the way he made me feel and my wife feel, and calmed my wife down and calmed me down. So there's a lot that goes to it. In my mind, I'm saying, how do you get that to the person where you make them feel comfortable that everything's going to be okay?
Yeah, no, it's not. It's a real thing. And what I can tell you is that one of the biggest things we've been able to do is, since we do have such great doctor networks that we're a part of, people actually have 24/7 access to the doctor. They can talk to a doctor at any time of day.
Okay.
And the doctors are responsive. It's not like they're like, I'm off for this week, I'm going to Breckenridge. They're not skipping town on you
Hey, it's
either.
Tommy.
Yeah, it's Tommy, yeah. So they do build a rapport, and they do have very personal conversations, and it is the very similar conversation that you would have in the doctor's office.
I got you. That's great.
I think there's a trade-off between convenience and, quality communication. So if I had something serious, I'm the type of person who would want to be in the office with the doctor. If I'm just doing something that is like I have a cold, I'm happy to do a televisit with my doctor, because then I don't have to schedule an appointment and drive there and park and do all of those. It's a bigger hassle. And so I can get my medication quicker if I just do a telehealth visit, right? So it depends on why I'm visiting.
So with these, I guess you would call them health enhancements. I'm not exactly sure how to classify everything you're doing. Like you said, it's new. So it's not just weight loss. You're doing a lot of other things with health too. Do you have to take these shots or whatever you're doing that you're putting into your body for the rest of your life, like to keep your health up to the level you get it to after being on this for a while? Like, are you still doing what you started out doing to lose the extra weight?
Yeah. So it's like anything, you go through seasons in life, and there's different things that are going to help you at different times in life, right? And like a lot of folks, specifically that we've seen on GLPs, it's really about helping someone on the lifestyle. Like there's other products and services that are also available to patients, like things like a carb bus. Like we see a lot of diabetic medications that have been repurposed for weight loss. It's not just GLPs today, right? And what they're starting to identify is that a lot of this has to do with behavioral modification. At the same time, there's the GLPs are a life-changing and revolutionary medicine in today's day and age. But there are times and places for the use case of them. A lot of times you tell someone not to take it. There's a lot of uses where someone should not be taking this. If you have a family history of certain types of cancers, et cetera, like there's a lot of things you shouldn't do. But for me personally, I'm more of like a tweaker on my own. Like I've been kind of, taking a lot of these things and doing like the biohacking community on my own for so long that what I found is I actually really like working with my doctor to give me a microdose. So there's not even a dose profile that I can get from like a commercial medication that actually works for me because it's too much. And so what the doctors are able to do is say, hey, actually, maybe you should be on way fewer units, and you need to be thinking about what the personalization aspect looks like. So what you can do is you kind of start dialing these things in, and then over time, you start finding the right protocol for you. And that's really how you create personalized medicine.
So you stay on a maintenance dose maybe after. Oh, that's interesting.
I mean, I've heard GLP-1s, though, are not only great for managing blood sugar, diabetes, but also cancer, Alzheimer's. They have, it's almost like a wonder drug, right? And I saw an article not too long ago. Shouldn't everyone be on GLP-1s, right? Because it has so many health benefits. And so far, nobody's been able to show any really negative health benefits. There's some discomfort sometimes, but overall, they're supposed to be, the new wonder drug.
Well, it had a really bad effect on me. The GLP-1 had a very bad effect.
Yeah. And
so there are a few people that are with very sensitive
Sure.
systems that can't do it.
Right. And we've heard of stories like that too.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And I mean, that's, I think, to be expected. I mean, these GLPs have been around for 20 plus years, have been studied in a lot of folks. And yeah, I mean, GI discomfort and those things. Again, I'm not the doctor. I'm the guy that kind of understands, how do I start putting a team around helping people access this? And how
that's what I was going to say. So what you really came here to talk about was not necessarily these specific drugs and specific compounds, but more your distribution system, right?
Yeah. And really what this vision behind why has healthcare been so broken for so many people for so long? And then what does that future state look like? I mean, that's what we're building. We're not really just building like hey, you want a drug, come get a drug. I think, first of all, that's immoral. And second of all, I don't think that's probably legal. I think that the right thing to do is to establish these relationships for patients with doctors and be able to make things proactive and personalized. And ultimately, like, that's the problem we have today, right? And if you look across everything in the United States, we talk about even in family offices, right? Like maybe the kids are a little lazy, maybe this, maybe that. Like everyone has their own story is what I'm driving at. Everyone has their own unique way that they have to approach life. And medicine shouldn't be any different. Medicine should be the exact same approach. And until we start flipping the script and we start actually internalizing that and understanding that, we're going to continue to get more and more of the same. We have a sick care system. We don't have a healthcare system. It's a huge difference. And once we start embodying those changes with the things like we're trying to do, which is, hey, the same place that you talk to the doctors, the same place you should be able to access the medicine, the same time it should show up to your house, and then you should be able to monitor all that off of your phone, the better. And I'm writing about a lot of this in my book that's coming up, all about Healthcare 3.0. But really, to me, that's what has to happen. We really have to start embracing this because really you start thinking about metabolic health, right? Think about metabolic health. If you just address that, I personally believe you address 80% of all of the other underlying issues that people have. Like you'll start reducing the number of cancers. You'll reduce the heart attack risk. You see, your diabetes 3, which is just, dementia and Alzheimer's. All of these risks go down as long as you're having a better metabolic health.
Tell us a little bit more about metabolic health. When you say that, that's has to do with your metabolism. So do GLPs impact that, or is that also NADs? You're also have those available on your website, I saw.
People in the U.S., like I said, about 50%, 40 to 50% of people in the U.S. suffer from metabolic syndrome, which means that they struggle with 3 of these 5 things that happen. You either have high triglycerides, high LDL, low HDL, you have a truncal obesity, or that means your stomach is big. And if you hit over 3 of those, you actually see an 80% rise in your heart attack rate. You see a 90% rise in stroke. Like these are just data points that we have today. And so what we've actually been able to do is help people understand this at like a real basic level, right? Like I'm talking to you guys about it. Like you should be able to talk about this stuff like it's a dinner conversation. Like it shouldn't be a taboo subject to talk about. And so and that's where this accessibility piece comes in. It's like, hey, you should hear about this stuff on a podcast. You should be interested enough to be like, wow, maybe I can look into this. Maybe I can actually take control of it myself. And then we start layering those types of things on because we also see this in the data that when someone loses weight, that's the first thing that they see, right? Like, you're like, if you're big and, like you're large and like you're maybe a little like not happy with, the way a certain shirt fits, but then you see it fits better. Then you start thinking like, wow, I need to start doing more blood work. I need to start getting more energy. I want to have more time for the grandkids. I want to feel great when I wake up in the morning. And you start going down this rabbit hole of, wow, health is actually wealth. Health is something that I should really deeply value because you'll be a better CEO. You'll be a better founder. You'll be a better leader, the better health that you have. And so what we see is an incredible number of people actually starting to like gravitate towards these alternative therapies like NAD, like you had mentioned NAD. NAD is like, there's a really cool quote that I like from Dr. David Sinclair. He's like the longevity guy. he says, you know, without NAD, life itself would cease to exist in 30 seconds. Because you remember back in 6th grade science when they're talking to you and they're like, oh, you know, the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the
That's
cell.
like the Krebs cycle or
Yeah,
something. Yeah,
exactly.
I do remember
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, everyone has that. It's like a memory that's like, I don't know, everyone has it. It's really weird. But NAD is the thing that actually provides the energy for that. And so like as you actually age, those levels decrease. And so what we see is like by augmenting these things and by the doctors making the determination with the patient, you see energy levels go back, and then you can actually go hang out with your kids and you can do the things that you want
I
to
think
do.
you're convincing me.
There you go.
How do people find you?
Yeah. So for me, I have a website like everyone else does, like, you know, joshkahn.com, but I'm really more available on LinkedIn, you know, as Josh Kahn. And really, I tell people just explore the website that we have. It's called tryeden.com.
Can you spell your last name?
Yeah, I put the 2 tall letters next to each other. It's Khan.
Okay.
And that's Josh Kahn.